maybe 10, but I can't see it this week. I don't understand. If anybody is willing to start Melvin Gordon this week in any of their leagues, I feel like you're getting too cute and you're probably going to get burned is what is going to happen because Eckler still owns this backfield for this week. Now, moving forward after this, sure, low-end RB2 flex for the rest of the season unless something happens to Gordon, but the Chargers are absolutely bonkers. They are out of their dang minds if they let Gordon play anything more than a handful of snaps. Hell, any snaps this week because he hasn't been in – he's literally been in the building for like 3 days, 2 days, however many days. He hasn't practiced with the team. Protections, playbook, all that kind of stuff. I understand it's probably very similar, but he's not ready to roll. So anybody that wants to play Gordon, please – listen to me and hear the sound of my voice. Don't do it.
There you go. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself, and that's exactly the way I feel. And real quick, just wanted to mention if we happen to cut out at any point, there's some severe weather rolling through over by my house as me and Debro record this here. So just wanted to apologize in advance. It's also if you hear any strange noises in the background, there is some thunder. So we are dealing with that as we talk about the Bolts, coincidentally. So again, definitely agree with that statement here. Another guy that most people are probably plugging into their starting lineups this week. I mean, if you're in a league that uses a free agent acquisition budget or, fab, and I mean, if you unleashed most of your bankroll on Wayne Gallman this week, I mean, you're probably in a position where you absolutely have to start him this week. But for those who may have just been next up on their waiver wire or something like that, and, definitely in spots in DFS this week, I think Wayne Gallman is going to be the absolute chalk, especially in cash games. But is he necessary to start perhaps if we might have some other better options on our team?
I don't understand why everybody hates Wayne Gallman so much. Like, I can't wrap my head around that, Josh, because anybody that has ever played fantasy and anybody especially that subscribes to the fact of even just a little bit, a tiny bit of running backs don't matter. You look at situation, Gallman is running behind right now at the moment the best run blocking line in the NFL. They're number one in adjusted line yards for the Giants. That Zeitler trade was amazing for the Giants. And you have Gallman, who very quickly, you're talking about DFS, he's coming in at around 10% ownership. Nobody, and I feel like that kind of resounds with how people are looking at Gallman. Look, he doesn't have to be sexy. He doesn't have to be a great name. He doesn't have to run a 4.40 to get you fantasy points. What he has to do is have opportunity, which cha-ching, despite Jay Ajayi having his agent having Ian Rappaport in his back pocket. But despite that, Jay Ajayi is still not on the Giants, last I checked. Gallman has this backfield sewn up, and now he takes on a Redskins run defense that is absolutely atrocious. He's going to be active in both the early downs and the passing game. And for the life of me, I do not understand why Wayne Gallman is not a lock. Like, why people will not play him, at least in their flex, for a running back that will see, if you're going medium projection-wise, will see goal line work and 15 touches if you're not even talking about the pass game. So the love or lack of love for Wayne Gallman is absolutely insane to me because I don't love him as a prospect or a player, but his situation and his matchup this week, you cannot ask for better.
Oh, no, I completely agree. And in our next Fan Up Dynasty League, we had some, and I'm going to call you guys out, my fellow super fans. Some of you guys are asleep at the wheel, letting your boy, who's tied for first place here, none other than your Detroit Lions super fan, yours truly, snap up Mr. Wayne Gallman, and you better believe he's in my starting lineup. So I'm glad you're bringing the heat here on the Wayne Gallman takes, Debro, because that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, the dude was good at Clemson. I mean, that's not. I heard they're pretty good. So this is a guy that who else is behind him? Do we really think Elijah Penny is going to get. Is he really a threat to take carries
He's
away?
the fullback.
I don't think so.
He's
Exactly.
the
I was
fullback.
just going to say
they just
glorified
promoted
fullback.
Jacob Hillman off the practice squad. Like, who the hell is taking touches away from Wayne Gallman besides Daniel Jones in the run game? I will give people that. Okay? Besides that, there's not a running back on this roster that is going to do so this week.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I think the threat of Daniel Jones being able to take off occasionally, I think that kind of keeps the defense a little more honest. And we saw that the Redskins aren't exactly the best unit. I definitely am really surprised at how much that unit has taken a step back this year. So by all means, fire up Wayne Gallman, folks. Now, this is a guy that anyone that follows you on Twitter already, they're already going to know that you like this guy. I just wish that, especially, and I feel like the rest of not only the fantasy community, but I feel like a lot of casual fans that got to watch this island game between, the Bears last week and the Redskins, who we were just discussing. Can we get David Montgomery the damn ball, please? I mean, I feel like, I'm putting him in my lineups in the leagues that I have him. And, even in Minnesota, it is a tough matchup. I get that. But I mean, I think you have to. Are you rolling him out this week?
Oh my gosh. So David Montgomery has a terrible, and I'm not even going to be kind with it, a terrible matchup versus the Vikings this week. I'd be willing to roll him out in my season-long leagues if I had nobody else based off of volume and stuff like that. And yeah, like you're talking about, man, can we all just pray that Nagy has like a head from buttectomy? Like, I don't understand what in the heck he's doing. Like, we've seen inklings that his head is slightly above the crack right now. And he's like peeking over it, and he's like, there's some things out here. There's some stuff. There's some things going on in the world. But until it's fully out, I mean, I'm still worried about David Montgomery, but I'm not going to say to not roll him out there. I mean, the fact of it is when they get in the red zone, they're going to feed the ball to David Montgomery. He has been hogging all the touches in the red zone for running backs, all the touches inside the 5, the 10. So in that sense, yes, I could see David Montgomery putting up a nasty-looking stat line this week. If he gets the volume, like 15 touches, 60 yards, he falls into the end zone, that's fine. Then he has low-end RB2 numbers. Am I rushing to play him this week? Not so much, just because the matchup is terrible, but I'm not moving off the Montgomery love. He's the by far best back in this backfield, and I think it's only a matter of time before, like I said, Matt Nagy firmly dislodges his head from his own butt and realizes that if the Bears are going to go anywhere this year, it's not with the arm of Mitch Trubisky, because dear God in heaven, he's terrible. It's with defense, it's with running the ball, and he needs to feed the beast.
It's funny you said that, because I just thought that was a visor on his head. I didn't realize that was his butthole. But it is what it is, man. But you make a great point. It's like, dude, we just have to hope that he goes back and watches the film of this Redskins game and realizes that he's just the best running back on the team, and it's not particularly close. And I mean, I don't know how much longer. I mean, he's getting so pissed with how much he has to restrict the offense that like people are starting to call him out for his play calling, when really the only beef I have was just with this running back rotation and the carries and the distribution of those carries, and just the usage of David Montgomery is just absolutely disgusting so far. So we can only hope, my friend, but I'm rolling him out there because I'm hoping that, this is the week that he gets it done. But we want to make sure that whatever we're doing, we're making the best fantasy decisions. And sometimes we hit and miss on those. A lot of people missed this year on the Patriots running back situation. And, there's been a very strong movement in past years to just take the cheapest piece to the New England backfield. And this year, That was none other than Rex Burkhead, who absolutely has been a tremendous fantasy value for those of us who have him on our rosters. Last week, of course, was helped out by the absence of James White, who was off on paternity leave. And of course, Julian Edelman and Josh Gordon go out in this game. Now, those guys banged up and White coming back this week. Debra, which Pats running back do you think is going to be the one for fantasy owners to have in their lineups this week in week 4?
I feel like you were jamming in any running back for the Pats. It's got to be James White. Burkhead got the run last week. James White, you were talking about, was out. Sonny Michel is just he's not even he's not even awful. He's like below awful. Like he's like what awful should aspire to be right now.
Is he getting the Todd Gurley treatment? Is that what's going on? Like, are he and Todd Gurley they're getting the same treatment right now, it seems like.
Dude, I don't even know if it's that. I feel like Sony Michel was running, like, yes, I mean, he's running on 80-year-old man knees, but he looks more like 2018 LeGarrette Blount than the 2016, 2017 version of LeGarrette Blount that we hoped we'd get when we had Sony Michel. So I think White comes back. Burkhead popped up with the injury report. I believe it was a knee injury. Don't quote me on that. But he popped up with the injury report this week. Whether he goes or he doesn't, I still like White the most because this Bills defense is, man, they're tough. Their secondary, everything. The only thing that I think the Patriots can kind of lean on with this one is running the ball basically through the air, and that's checkdowns to James White. I mean, I would not be surprised if James White has like 7 for 60. And when I say 7, like 7 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown in this one. So if you got to get a Pats back in, this game overall is a huge stay away from me. But if you're there and that's what you got on your bench and you're like, James White is one of those players that I feel like out of all these running backs for the Patriots, you plug in.
That's tasty because I've built some DFS lineups this week, my friend, and James White's the only Patriots running back I have utilized out of the New England backfield. So I really like what you're saying there. I'm picking up what you're laying down, my friend, and especially full PPR sites like DraftKings, and if you are in a PPR league, James White, as we know, is going to bring that fantasy goodness. Real quick, I know we talked about how we thought the Giants-Redskins game was going to be a little tasty. I just wanted to real quick remind you guys that Chris Thompson is your number one source for garbage time dump-offs, and that is always a smart decision in other PPR formats as well. Wanted to real quick, last running back question I had for you, Derek, was are we only starting Tampa Bay running backs out of desperation at this point? I mean, I'm fortunate enough to literally not own one of these guys in any of my leagues, so I don't have to worry about it. But dude, I know there's some guys out there who just absolutely hate themselves and hate their teams because they kind of have to make this decision every week. What say you about the Tampa backfield?
I can't start any of these guys. Like, I don't care if Ronald Jones lucks into 14 carries and 80 yards, 60. Like, this is a team that, I will give credence where it is due. Their defense is surprising to people right now. Their run defense is still a lot better than their pass defense. But to say that either one of these running backs should be anything more than a bye week fill-in, and honestly, I can tell you with confidence, Josh, across all of my season-long leagues, which I don't have as many this year, but in my season-long leagues this year, I have absolutely no exposure to Tampa Bay running backs. If one of them comes out this week and does anything for you, you say bye-bye, and you trade into the fool that wants him. Because I don't believe in Barber. I don't believe in Ronald Jones. I sure as hell do not believe in their offensive line. And when would you ever feel confident about starting one of these guys? Like, in the best case of scenarios, you would look at one of these guys, as nasty as they are, is you'd start a running back on a good offense, even in bad spots, because you worry about touchdowns. Where is that for Tampa